In 1916, we have the release of a picture titled The Good Bad Man, directed by our good friend Allan Dwan. My friend Noel Oakeshott, he made a remark in a. We recorded a conversation, which I'll release eventually. I'm still compiling the footage together for it. He I asked him whether he would consider The Good Bad Man. He's very much an American Western devotee. I think that's fair to say, and I asked him whether he'd consider Alan Dwan's The Good Bad Man the middle ground, I suppose, between a film like Edwin S. Porter's The Great Train Robbery and John Ford's 1926 masterpiece The Iron Horse. And I asked him this, and his response was, "Oh, definitely." He posited how The Great Train Robbery was a film constructed when the West was a fresh memory, whereas The Good Bad Man features a unique, intentionally aestheticized vision of the West, something more romantic and. When I say expressionistic, I don't mean in the context that we normally use. I mean in this most general term as possible. I don't mean expressionistic as in, um, a predecessor or prototype for what we call German expressionism specifically. The Good Bad Man is a tremendous film. The framing is fantastic. It has a trait which I noted about even Alan Dwan's later films, and this idea that every image is of some kind of grandiose importance in the narrative, and it's stylized and idealized as such, if you know what I mean. I think everything's meant to be some kind of every shot is meant to be some sort of communicative painting, which exactly transfers the emotional vector of the scene at the time, be it a shot of Bob Evans looking over passing through, or him after him being shot and a slight smile on his face, knowing that passing through might actually be getting away. This film stars Douglas Fairbanks as his name is Parson Through, which is that's interesting. I think it really goes to show how, what would you say, the considered ethics and moral philosophies behind this film, like this idea that rather than giving him a name, they're just literally going to, they're going to name him what he symbolically embodies within this narrative. The idea of this drifter. He's somewhat compared to Robin Hood earlier in the film, which anyone who knows Alan Dwan directing the famous 1922 Robin Hood picture, that's quite a noteworthy anecdote. Maybe. Foreshadowing. The production was supervised by D.W. Griffith, which you may have noted in one of the first screen caps in this video. It really has that Griffithian vision of constructing a fully realized grand narrative epic with these painterly images and these phenomenal depictions of motion, where you really feel as though you're going on this dynamic trip of some kind. The Good Bad Man its creators realized this new medium, cinema's potential to compose this beautifully idealized series of images in order to, evoke this narrative that could. This might seem haughty, but in a way raise consciousness. Now, I think Griffith may have become sensitive to the degree to which a film he could make could evoke strong feelings in people. And in The Birth of a Nation, we saw how cinema could act as fuel for thought, as what we might call a higher depiction of our dreams, a validation of fantasies, they become experienced as memories, as though they were authentic experiences. They become processed as experiences with that sublime combination of visual and sound, and especially in the early context when you were, you were taken into this dark room and sitting in silence with several others, as a kind of vision of the future was, especially at this time in the 1910s. You know, it's like you couldn't remove going to the cinema from it being a kind of modernist or futuristic, or at least modernist event, and so it becomes something. It's as though you're witnessing a manifesto for, like, yeah, someone with the audacity and the resources to put a film together. It's like you're seeing their manifesto, their vision of what truly matters in the world, of what they feel as though you ought to experience and what you ought to take away from the film. I mean, I think that it's important to think about, they put this together, this large scale production. What do they want us to take from it? And I think that's significant. So where this comes back to Griffith is, I think, Intolerance, Love Struggle Throughout the Ages, where he took the idea seriously of trying to perhaps reverse the damage he inevitably and undeniably caused with The Birth of a Nation. Say what you will about the film as a piece of technical craftsmanship, its immediate impact was socially catastrophic. I think I think that's an understatement, especially in the grand scheme of things, frankly, and in the context of the United States. We could argue the world as well, really, and Intolerance was his attempt, and it bombed hard, unfortunately, for Griffith. He wanted to raise the consciousness. He wanted the idea of everyone being able to view Intolerance, understanding what that film's about, and Griffith liked to think he could have brought about world peace or something, and I don't bemoan him for that even, because I wouldn't even be surprised if, had everyone in 1916 viewed the film Intolerance, Love Struggle Throughout the Ages, we could have prevented. We could have ended the First World War more promptly, and then prevented the existence of the Second. Who knows? And therefore the Cold and all the catastrophes we've had since, and now is madness and violence and carnage. Anyway, think of The Good Bad Man as an attempt to improve the mass psychology of the American audience. I think Griffith and Dwan under him took film art as a means of seriously transforming the world around them, because they could transform their film set into an idealized, romanticized Arcadia of the Old West, and use it as a place to illustrate, as a temporal realm to illustrate parables. I think The Good Bad Man is an exceptional film, and I highly recommend everyone check it out. This is the genesis of the American Western as we know it. This is the kind of film which John Ford would have learned his tricks from, I assume. It makes me presume that. I'd be surprised if this was not the case. I put it like that. Anyway, circumstantially, Merry Christmas. Have a fantastic day.